We've got Christine down on the ground while we have Rob up in chopper number 7, and it looks like madness down there, Christine.
What?
You had nothing. You had nothing.
No.
Your improv skills need a little bit of work.
They need a lot of work, actually.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another, and it's been such a long time, so a much needed episode of the Disney Top 3. It's the series where Christine and I pick a topic, or we take a suggestion from you guys, and we talk about our top 3 in Walt Disney World for whatever that topic is. And today's topic, Christine, what's today's topic? What's today's topic, and why are we celebrating this topic?
Today's topic is our top 3 educational experiences at Disney. And we're celebrating this topic because school is over, which is kind of a weird, when you think about it, it's like school's over, guys, so let's talk about education.
Exactly. I was like, they're finally done with school, so let's talk about more learning.
Mm-hmm.
I hope school's over for most people. I have actually, it's been so many years, I've just forgotten. Usually when it's time to put the AC in, I assume school is over. That's how I figure it. But before we jump into the top 3, we've got some exciting news.
We're going places.
We're going places.
Namely,
specifically 2 places.
2 places that are the 2 most important places in the universe.
Yes. That's Disneyland and Disney World. We're going to Disneyland and Disney World, guys. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're going to be headed to Disneyland in August, and we're going to be headed to Disney World in September. By the way, I don't know if my brain is going to be able to take that much of Disney in such a short amount of time. I can't wait.
Our trips are literally 4 weeks apart.
That's
like,
so
literally,
great.
Almost to the day.
Because right when that like post-Disney depression kicks in, you just go to Disney again. That's so great. And we're mentioning this because we're planning to do a couple of meetups, one at each. Probably, I would imagine they'd be smaller meetups, and they'd be a lot of fun. And I've got dates in front of me, and so we're gonna be in Disneyland on August 22nd. That's a Saturday, and we're going to do a meetup. I don't think we have a place yet in mind or a time yet. I think when we get closer to August, that information will be out there. But that's the day we're gonna do it. And then in Disney World, it'll be September 26th, also a Saturday. And I think we decided on that. We're going to do it in the Magic Kingdom. But again, we still got to figure out a time. And we'll probably have another top 3 with that info.
10 a.m. on that Saturday, I'm parasailing. So as long as it's after that.
So 10 a.m., everybody on the boat that she is parasailing on, we're going to have a meetup. It's going to be great. It's going to be a boat party.
Yeah. Everybody on the boat.
Yes. That boat would sink. That'd be a lot of people on a boat. I hope it's a lot of people. We'll find out. Anyway, it'll be a lot of fun, and there'll be more details as we get closer, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So now, let's kick off our top 3. We're going to change it up this week. Normally, we know each other's top 3 beforehand because we're recording it, but at this point, we don't know any of our top 3s. We threw this list together literally like 5 minutes ago, and we're starting here at my number 3, Spaceship Earth, because, okay, this could have been my number 1, but I put it as 3 because, 1, it's I feel like it's a softball, right? It's an easy one. Epcot in general is an easy one because the whole purpose of this park is to be educational and entertaining, and I think this ride among them is the most because it spans everything. It starts from, cavemen fighting mammoths and stops with, you being in outer space. Like, what other attraction covers everything so fully? And I think it's great because it's become a classic. It's got all these different versions. People love it, yet it doesn't try to hide the educational aspect. It's like right there, front and center. Like, this is a ride that teaches you about the history of communication, and there's no denying it. And so I love it because it's just shameless about that, and that's why it's on my number 3.
It's shameless education?
Shameless education.
Shameless education.
No hiding it, no tricking you into learning something. Just, hey, Judi Dench is going to teach you some stuff. Get ready.
Yeah, get ready to listen to Judi Dench's awesome voice for like 15 minutes.
Yes.
It's great.
So yeah, I find it. I mean, there's got to be something that you've learned from this ride that you actually like walked away from the ride learning, right? That you didn't know elsewhere.
Yeah, I learned that apparently the future is a whole bunch of kids in different countries taking classes from one instructor on the internet. Do you
Yeah.
remember that whole thing at the end?
I do.
Like, yeah, that's what I've learned.
And it was adorable because it's like, hey, video chatting, it's gonna be the future.
Yeah.
One day it's gonna happen. And now we've got, FaceTime, and nobody uses it. All right, let's jump to your number 3. I have no idea where it is, so we're just gonna have to find out right now. Where are we going?
We're going to the Animal Kingdom.
What?
Yep. To Conservation Station.
I don't even remember where that is. I guess we're gonna have to go find it.
We're gonna have to go find it.
All right, so we're at an attraction that I'm not going to lie, I forgot existed up until you reminded me by listing it as your number 3. So what's your number 3 and why? Take it away, Christine.
My number 3 is Conservation Conservation Station.
AKA, because that's what the sign here.
Yes, aka Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Yep.
It's kind of in the same area, which is an Animal Kingdom, and actually getting there in real life is a lot harder than in the server. Because
Well, apparently in the server we had to find it as well.
this is true, but it's not just a walk. You do have to take a little tram to get there. I've done it, I guess, maybe about twice, so not like a thing I've done every time I've come, but I do really remember loving doing it. Oh, your whole thing is full. Your whole tram is full.
I fear that this is going to be one of the slow going attractions.
Probably.
I probably made a mistake here.
You probably did.
And I can't get. Oh no! Later. Goodbye. So,
Wait, did you jump off?
No, I'm stuck. I'm stuck on it. We're going.
Goodbye. Okay, so Conservation Station. It kind of sounds like, I think some people avoid it because it almost seems like it would be kiddie. It's supposed to talk about, protecting our animals and helping the species that might soon be extinct and all of that. But it's actually really interesting even as an adult, and I found that I've learned a lot heading over there. But what's also really cool is that that's where their vets work. So you sometimes, if you're lucky, you can actually see them, I don't know, cleaning the teeth of a lion, or taking care of a sick zebra, or whatever else is going on at the time. And it's like these completely open windows that you can watch what they're doing and taking care of the animals. And that's what I think really makes it. Because you could say, well, everything else you can find at most zoos. They talk about a lot of this stuff at various zoos around the country. But seeing that up close is really, really cool. And I feel like it's a learning experience that is hard to get anywhere else.
Right.
Again, it's kind of luck of the draw. You don't know what's going to be happening or what animals are going to be treated. But it's totally worth, taking a little bit of time to head out there because you might see something really cool.
I like to imagine that the lions getting their teeth cleaned have to wait in a waiting room first. And it's really awkward and quiet in there. And they're just lots of copies of Highlights magazine.
Yeah, they're just like sitting on their butts on chairs.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've ever been on this before because I don't recognize any of this right now. And I would have guessed that something called Conservation Station would have been like a bunch of booths or something with like learning material.
There is some of that.
I didn't know there was like a physical, like I'm on a train right now and we're riding somewhere. Did not know about this at all.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I've learned something, you could say.
Yeah. Maybe we should make it a new thing you do next trip.
Yep. This trip in September is going to be all about stuff I haven't been on in either 10 years or ever.
Same here.
All right. We're coming up to the exit here and then we're going to head on to my number 2. Now, kind of want you to take a guess at what my number 2 would be. It's in the Magic Kingdom.
I want to say it's back in Epcot.
Nope, Magic Kingdom.
Okay, Magic Kingdom. Is it Carousel Progress?
Nope. It is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority.
What?
And we're going to go work to the TTA. All right, so my number 2 is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority. That's right. I picked that for my list of educational experiences, and there's a reason why, and it's for one specific moment in the attraction, and I'm wondering, I'm not going to make you play the guessing game, also because I think it's probably super obscure. Oh, I just got pulled into the TTA. I'm on it now. I didn't even mean to do that. So while you're riding on this, it's usually just a tour of Tomorrowland, which is cool and everything, and it's a great way to get out of the heat and, I don't know, get off your feet for 15 minutes or so. There's a part where you go in the tunnel, and it shows off this portion of a model city called Progress Land. And what Progress Land was essentially what would become the idea of Epcot, the city, back when Walt wanted it to be a full-fledged operational city before it turned into the theme park that it eventually is today. And so I picked this because I think that is a really cool and really unknown part of Disney history that you get to see. And I don't remember if the VO talks about that and how that was a model of Walt's idea of the future, but I feel like it is a very unexpected moment where you have the opportunity to learn something about Disney history that you normally otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And I think it's a really cool piece because it's not just something that's being told or being shown in a video, but the actual physical model. And it's just a small part of what it was used to be, a massive model that took up all of the second floor of the Carousel of Progress that you get to see as you're passing by. And so for me, I think it's a cool educational moment in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, this was definitely an obscure pick. I would have thought of a few different other ones before this. I also got pulled onto the ride, so now I'm just riding through right now.
Oh, there you go. See, here we are. We're coming up on it. It's on your left if you take a look.
And yeah, I mean, I do remember distinctly that part, and I think that's the part that I always remember the most because it seemed to be the most interesting. And I do think the VO talks about it a bit. And yeah, I mean, I think I remember we had a recorded, video of one of our trips in like the 80s. And I remember them recording this entire ride because, that's what parents do.
Yeah.
And that part was like the part that I remember. I was too young. I was 2. So my excitement was probably not as much as my brother's, but he was very excited when we passed the that whole like model and everything.
Yeah.
So.
I would have, if I could see one thing from the past that no longer exists, it would have been that model at its full scale when everything was there. Because I can only, that's a huge scale. Like, you can look up photos. It's crazy how big that model of a city was. And it was just a model. Like, Walt just had it as a concept, which is crazy. But there you have it. What's your number 2? What park's it in?
Epcot.
I'm going to guess Turtle Talk with Crush.
No. How is that educational?
I'm going to guess...
you get one more.
Oh, Canada.
No.
All right. Which one is it? They seem like the two obvious picks.
It is Living with the Land.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're at Living with the Land, the attraction most famously known for its education on space technology and space exploration. Why is it on your list, Christine?
What? Living with the Land is on my list because I think I just have really fond memories of it. So this is one of those attractions that, we were just saying we need to go on things we haven't been on in years. Yeah. This is one of them. I went quite a few times when I was younger, but I don't think I've been on it since I was about 16 or 17. So it's been like 10 years already. But I really loved there's just something about the whole ride through and seeing how they actually grow the plants, which is used for food in the land pavilion. It's the food you actually eat in the restaurants. And I don't know. So I don't know. There's been some changes, and I know that originally you did have a tour guide. Did they change that?
Yeah, it's VO now.
Yeah. So that's how long it's been since I've been on it, because at the time I did, there was actually a cast member who was guiding me through. But I just really, there was something I just really enjoyed about seeing, look, Disney isn't just like a theme park. It's like they're actually, subsisting on these actual things that they're doing. Like they're planting food and we're eating it. And it's happening behind the scenes. And it's something you don't think about, and I don't think that most theme parks would even think to do. And then to take people through that, to say, hey, we're going to open this up and let people actually see how this is done. I just think is really cool. It has really great kind of moral, if you will, of teaching people that, this is something that we can do. We can plant our own food, and it's healthy and it's good for us. And, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. But it's definitely something I want to do when we go back in September.
I think it's because it's got not one, not two, but 3 indoors, outdoors areas as you go through the forest and then the desert and then the plains. And I mean, that's just so much indoor for outdoor that I can't even
like makes your brain explode.
I can't even register it. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's also neat, I think, from a technical perspective, because those are scenes you actually see up in the Garden Grill. And so now you have this attraction that interacts in a way with the Garden Grill, not only by sharing those scenes, but also, like you said, the food that they grow gets used in the restaurant, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That was a great pick. I mean, it wasn't Turtle Talk or Crush or Okadana, but
right.
I guess it is educational.
Very educational.
All right, so now it's time to move on to my number 1. And my number 1, you actually guessed it already, but you guessed it for the wrong number. And that's back in Tomorrowland at the Carousel of Progress. All right, here we are at the Carousel Progress. We got to wrap this up because we both turned our air conditioners off and it's June, and that is horrible. So the Carousel Progress is my number 1 pick, as you guessed it. I think it's cool to have an educational experience that is also entertaining, and I think that's what this is. I mean, not all education has to be learning of a fact or just like, you know, a cold science. I think this is educational because it gives people who, especially now more than ever, you know, it gives people a look into a time period that they've never experienced before and what that was like. And, you know, sure, maybe the script's not 100% true to what the time period's exactly like, but you get a sense of just what these spaces were built like and what the mentality of people were who are optimistic about the future at a time where, you know, having an ice box was like the greatest thing ever. And I think it's a good way to put us in perspective, because here I am talking about how we got to wrap this up so I can turn my air conditioner on. You know, I'm sure in 50 years where everything in the world is, you know, is climate controlled, they're going to be like, wow, they had to turn off their air conditioner to record. So I don't know. I like this. I think it's a fun way to sort of generate a sense of nostalgia for a period of time that you actually didn't experience firsthand, and you learn a bit about it.
I think it works both ways for people who haven't experienced it and then the people who have. Yeah. Like going with my parents, you know, obviously they didn't experience like the 20s, but when we started hitting like the 60s, you know, it was like a sense of nostalgia of when they were younger, and they laughed at the little like inside jokes of like the decade that maybe I wouldn't have gotten. And I remember my mom like pointing out that like something on the set was like something that she actually like owned or something like similar, which also just goes to show the level of detail that they put into like building out every decade. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great from young to old to kind of experience that.
I want to see them redo it and put an 80s scene in so we can be like that. And be like, oh my gosh, NES, whoa.
Or like early 90s.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, boy bands. This is my life.
Well, look at the animatronics using a skip it. Up, the animatronic fell over. This was the worst idea ever.
I don't want to talk about how mad I am about skip its.
We'll cover that in another video, because I need to hear that at some point.
Let me put it this way: original skip-its were built for righties. I was a lefty. It counted backwards.
Wow.
Okay. And they came out with the lefty one when I was like a teenager, and it didn't matter anymore.
I grew up thinking that my progression was completely the opposite direction. Thanks, Skip It. All right, let's move on to your number 1, which I imagine isn't here, right?
No.
Oh, good. That would have been a weird overlap. That would have been an anticlimactic end.
It is in Hollywood Studios.
Oh, so then clearly we're going to Rock and Roller Coaster, where we learn educationally that marble doors are the worst idea that man has ever came up with.
Oh, I was going to say that Aerosmith is just an awesome band.
Well, you can learn 2 things, but also the marble door thing. So here we are at Walt's one man's. Maybe I should get the name of this thing right. So here we are at One Man's Dream. Subtitle: From Mickey Mouse to the Magic Kingdom, here in Hollywood Studios. Why is it your number 1, Christine?
It is my number 1 because I think if I'm going to learn anything in Disney, it should be Disney related. And One Man's Dream is actually super impressive, and I feel like unfortunately it's something that a lot of people pass.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically like a museum dedicated to Walt Disney's dream of Disneyland and Disney World. And it is impressive. I mean, there are so many old like what am I thinking of, like old like props and like artifacts from when he was like working on all of this stuff. There's the actual like replica builds of like what the parks were supposed to look like. You can also see like how some of them are different now than they were when they were like, you know, idealizing it. And I really remember the last time I went here. I think it was maybe a couple trips ago. I think I was with you. I think it was the last time I went with you. And I found myself thinking like, oh, I'll just pass through and check it out again. And I think I really ended up taking like at least 40 minutes to like walk through and read everything and like really check everything out, because it's super impressive how much they have. And then at the end, there's this like, I don't know, it's like a 10-minute video about Walt. Kind of like a quick overview of his life and some clips of him speaking. And the way that it's done, let me tell you, you will probably shed a tear or two by the end of it, because it's incredibly motivational, and I think it is something that makes us not forget that all of this is because this guy had an amazing dream. You know, like I hate to sound cheesy, but it's true. Yep. I think people forget and they think, oh, Disney is just Mickey Mouse and it's a lot of money and it's this and it's that, and it's like, yeah, it's a theme park, but Walt really built it to be more than that. And I think that you come away with better understanding of that after you go through this. And like I said, it will definitely bring a tear to your eye. It's one of those
things.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Especially today, there's such a cynicism around a big company, and to an extent that's totally warranted, but I think a lot of people forget that, you know, this is a company that started way, way before most of us were even alive. And at that time, it wasn't driven by profit margins or growth or expansion. It was driven by, like, he had this crazy idea. And that's why I always sort of encourage anybody who's interested to read a biography about him and his brother, because they had this dynamic where you could really tell that, like, that was a guy who just had ideas and he did what he could to make them happen regardless of how much money it was going to make. Money for him was just a resource to exercise on more ideas. And that's really cool. And this place does push that forward a lot. And I think it does a lot of cool things to sort of give you a perspective on moments you might have heard or known about, but in a different way. And I think that's something that Disney's great at, is immersing you. And the two in particular that I think of is I don't know if it's a recreation or if they actually moved it out here, but like it's his office almost untouched from, you know, when he was last in it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's just like a recreation, like they moved all the furniture.
Sure.
But it gives you like that sense. You get to look and go like, oh, this is where this person was working all the time. And then the second one is the scale, like the wall of the Epcot project, or back when it was the Florida project, where he's got the giant map of, you know, Central Florida and him pointing at it, and the scenery cameras from when he was recording the film, which would be his last time on camera. And I think being able to see those moments, which you could see pictures of his office online, you could look up the Epcot film and see it on YouTube, but like to see it in that scale, it gives you a different appreciation for it. So I love the way they go about it. And then there's the movie.
And then there's the movie.
So there you have it, our top 3 educational experiences in Walt Disney World. As you can tell, we sort of tried to avoid Epcot a bit because I feel like that was low-hanging fruit, and I think we did a great job of it. I liked your choices.
Thank you.
I want to know, though, what are your top 3 educational experiences at Disney World? And that's Epcot included if you feel like including it. So let me know in the comments below, or you can let us know on Twitter. I'm Rob Plays, at Rob Plays, and you are...
at Ivy Winter YT.
And again, just to throw out those dates, we're going to be in Disneyland on Saturday, August 22nd. And we're going to be on Disney World on Saturday, September 26th. We're going to do a meetup. Don't know what time yet. Don't know what parks yet, MK and Disney World. But we'll have more details as we get closer. So keep an eye out for future top 3s because we'll have those details there. I want to thank everybody for watching. Christine, if they want to see more of you besides all our Disney videos, how can they find them?
You can find me on YouTube. I do have my own channel, at the name Ivy Winter, and you can also, contact me on Twitter at Ivy Winter YT, or even on Instagram at Ivy Winter. I already see some of you have been following me, so thank you for that.
Awesome. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time for the next Disney Top 3. Bye, everybody.